RoboZone is presented by First in Michigan, Michigan's premier provider of K-12 robotics programs. Lawrence Technological University, possible is everything. Also brought to you by the Ford STEAM Experience, inspiring the next generation of problem solvers. The Dow Chemical Company, the human element at work. Fanuc America, the leading supplier of robots, CNCs, and factory automation. Consumers Energy, encouraging your inner genius. Hungry Howie's Dough Raiser, your next fundraiser comes with flavored crust. And the DTE Energy Foundation.
It is the biggest day of the year in high school robotics here in Michigan. It's going to be a great one for us here. It's the First in Michigan Robotics State Championship as we welcome you to Saginaw Valley State University. We welcome you inside. Dan Gutowski along with Dave Verbrugge and Dan Kimura as my partners today. And we've got a great setting here, guys. We had a very exciting morning with all of the teams competing in robotics this year. The high school teams were whittling the field down. Finally, we're down to 12. 4 alliances left competing for a state championship. We're very excited. Dave, what are we going to see this afternoon?
Well, it's going to be awesome action, right? Michigan had 450 teams. 160 made it here. This morning we crowned 4 alliance champions in our 4 divisions, and now those 4 alliances, those division winners who already won gold, are coming together now in our finals.
Yeah, you can see on the screen our bracket here, our consumers winner, Ford winner, Ford Field winner, Dow winner, and DTE winner. So those are 4 strong alliances. We watched them play throughout this morning, taking their individual field tournament crowns. And, you know, I think we've got a lot of strong alliances here, and it's definitely up in the air. Any of these teams are capable of taking it all.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of activity on the field, of course, here, but there's going to be a lot of excitement and passion on the sidelines, away from the field. For that, we bring in the other members of our broadcast crew, Lauren Plant and Kiara Hay.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. We do have a lot of passion here on the sidelines. We bring it, and we are here to bring to you the responses and the emotion that comes out of this day. I don't know about you guys, but I'm already exhausted. It's been up, it's been down. We've seen upsets. We've seen the top seeds go through. We've seen a lot of strategies. We've seen a lot of different ways to win. The question is, what is going to be the state championship winning strategy? Right, Kiara?
Right. I mean, let me tell you, this has been the most exciting final game I've seen. All the robots seem to be working great. The competition is high. The scores have been close. I cannot wait to see who's going to take it all home, and I know you can either. So we'll bring it back to you guys.
Kiara, thanks. Yeah, a lot of planning and strategy goes into making this a successful Saturday. There's not many teams still competing, but the ones that are of the highest caliber in the state of Michigan. We'll come back, we'll explain the rules, we'll set the stage as our First in Michigan Robotics State Championship continues here from Saginaw Valley State University.
Your home for high school sports is Michigan's original high school sports show, State Champ. For over a decade, the multiple Emmy Award-winning State Champs covers all sports statewide, 40 weeks a year. Catch State Champs Sundays at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit and StateChampsNetwork.com.
Welcome back to Saginaw Valley State as we are gearing up to the first semifinal matchup, and yeah, the excitement in this arena really starting to build. It's been very high all day, but it's going to get even more so in just a bit. Okay, so let's start and talk about the rules of the game, how this is executed. Here are our critical game pieces. This wiffle ball will be known as fuel, and this gear. These are 2 very important components. Dave, explain. Let's find out first exactly how the rules of this game unfold and what we'll see this afternoon.
And
So Steamworks is a 3v3 game, so 3 robots on a side. We've kind of got 3 different ways to score points. So the first way is fuel. We have these balls on the field, and we shoot them at a goal on the side of the field called the boiler. If you put a ball in the high goal, in autonomous, it takes 1 ball to earn a point. In the rest of the match, tele-operated, while the drivers are operating the robot, it takes 3 balls to get a point. The low goal is worth 3 times less. The second way to score is we have gears. We're delivering these gears to the airships. That's the big structures in the middle of the field. Delivering a certain number of gears will start rotors spinning. Each rotor you start spinning is worth 40 points apiece. The last way to score at the end of the match, we have ropes that will drop down from the airship, and robots will try to climb the ropes. And if they hit the beacon above their rope and it's lit up, that's 50 points per robot.
And here is our first matchup in our semifinal. Let's identify these teams and what their strengths and weaknesses are.
All right, so identifying them, we've got the Consumers winner there. We've got 4391 there, the captain, the Brave Bots from Gladstone. We've got their first choice was Bob, 85 from Zeeland, and the charge from Midland is 2619. On the Ford winner, we've got team 6075 out of Leland. They're the captain. Their first choice was 2767, Strike Force out of Kalamazoo. And then the Titanium Tigers from Fenton. And some of those numbers, Dan, maybe you could speak to those.
We saw some of those numbers. Ford, of course, our Ford division winner, has the highest score of the tournament so far with a 507-point match. But they are also a little bit less consistent than their opponent from the Consumers field. So they had some more great matches, some less good matches. So we'll see whether this is one of their high-scoring matches or if maybe they drop a couple gears.
So points are king. We're expecting to see a lot of offense, but as we mentioned earlier in the morning, there are some defensive strategies that are commonplace and might become relevant as the semifinal and championship matches go on.
For sure, there are break points in the match where if you have 3 rotors and you don't believe you can get to the 4th rotor, it's time to defend. If you have 4 rotors done and the other alliance is still a few gears away from their 4th rotor, it's time to defend. If you're both even, both have 4 rotors, then it's time to score fuel points or try to trap somebody so they can't climb. So there are these moments where defense is the right play, and we've seen it from both of these alliances so far today already.
And every year the game itself gets more layered, a little more complicated, a little more in-depth. We actually have players on the field. This year, 2 players per alliance that will be standing in the airships.
Right, those are the pilots. So again, the first time we've had players on the field. And the storyline kind of goes, those are airships. It's a gentleman's race. And what you're trying to do is fuel those airships to prepare them for flight, put the gears on to complete the airships, and then the robots climb on board to act as assistants in this flight.
So looking at this first semifinal matchup, the Red Alliance and the Blue Alliance, is there one newer robot, one newer school in this mix of the 6 that are maybe a surprise, didn't expect to be here?
I got to go with Leland Zebratics, right? 60-75. The higher the number, generally the newer the team. And they're not just part of this alliance, but they are the captain of this alliance.
Right. They're in only their 2nd season. And so, you know, Leland up on the Leelanau Peninsula there, small school, small area. And here, they're the captains. They were the number 2 alliance captain. Out of Consumers on the other side of the field, we see the Brave Bots as the captain. And look at that. We have an Upper Peninsula team. So we have a Northern Michigan team as a captain and an Upper Peninsula team. That's a little different here.
Sure, yeah, it used to be Southeast Michigan was sort of the epicenter for power teams, but here we go.
We're underway.
This is the autonomous period, just 15 seconds. The robots operating independently of human control and trying to score points and put that fuel in the boilers.
Looking for 2 rotor autos from both sides. A little bit slow from our Ford field team. They got the 2nd rotor, but just seconds after teleop started.
So you can see there, it's the Strike Force robot lining up to try to...
And that was interesting. It looked like they were lining up to shoot, and then they broke away and went for gears. They did break their shooter just at the end of their divisional tournament, but we saw it in practice working again, so I don't know. Maybe it went down again.
Score very even now. A 4-point advantage for the Red Alliance.
And Stryker's been playing good year in, year out of Kalamazoo.
Yep, seeing robots crossing the field with their gears, 51-14. It's Titanium Tigers delivering a gear.
And these robots not afraid to get physical, if you will. Initiating contact is a risk they are willing to take right now this deep in the afternoon.
And some of that zealousness, we just saw two red machines collide head on. And it's one thing you don't want to do, but they both survived that. They're both still running.
Been a big jump of points there. I think there was a tech foul on blue. It looked like a loading zone infraction, so a big jump of 25 points there, giving blue now the edge.
Yes, if a team is in the loading zone getting a gear, the other alliance cannot touch them. It's a 25-point penalty.
And at the 30-second mark, the robots will try to climb on the ropes and light up the beacons. And that will be a big advantage if they can get points that way as well. A 20-point lead for the Blue Alliance right now, and you can see 3 rotors already going there.
All 4 now.
All 4 for blue, all 3 still for red. Red looks like they're 2 gears away.
Blue Alliance has just exploded ahead. 320 to 160, they've doubled their lead.
That 100-point bonus for getting that 4th rotor spinning is looming large right now.
The Blue Alliance off to a good start. It's catch-up time for the Red Alliance. You can see the Brave Bots machine from Gladstone High School going to the top. The Blue Alliance piling it on even more. They light those beacons up to 470. They don't break 500, but they dominate the Red Alliance here in this first semifinal match.
26-19, the charge got trapped a little bit by again, the Titanium Tigers out of Fenton. They were late to their rope, did not grab it right away, so they also missed the hang. That still would have only brought them up to 310. So really it was that 4th rotor and maybe that tech foul that just absolutely let our Blue Alliance run away with this one.
And in the arena, they're just announcing the official final score, 470 to 260.
So each alliance needs 2 wins in the semifinals to get to the finals. And then 2 wins in the finals will win you the championship here today at Saginaw Valley State. Let's go to our replay and take a look at how the Blue Alliance maybe started, well, a little bit, not slow, but they sure hit the gas and never looked back late, did they?
So looking at 27-67 here on the field, they were lined up for a shot there. Full of balls, decided, you know what, maybe not. So that's a good question. We need to find out if there is something wrong with their shooter again. They did convert successfully to a gear running strategy and did take the win that way. So still see them with that full hopper of balls.
Right.
Playing some good defense on 85 here. Strike Force has a swerve drive. What that means is they can steer all their wheels, so they can move sideways if they need to, which makes it really easy for them to block up that alleyway.
Yeah, and what they were trying to do was keep the 85 team, Bob, from getting back to their end to do the hang.
Right, and again, we see these beacons lighting up 1, 2, and 3 for the Blue Alliance, giving us 3 hangs for 150 points.
And for those of you seeing this for the first time, the ropes being deployed, their teams can bring their own ropes. I think pretty much everybody at this level brings their own rope, and that's what they've tested with at home.
Yeah, I think the entire season I've seen one team use the field rope.
The field rope, yeah.
And here's the way things shape up for our next semifinal matchup. The Red Alliance consisting of Las Gorillas, Killer Bees, and the Bionic Blackhawks. The Blue Alliance is Team Robotics, the Engineers, and Raider Robotics.
So both of these were the #1 alliances coming out of their divisions. There's what Dan is circling.
That average score, 472 out of Dow. That is the highest average score by far of the 4 different division winners. It's possible that Dow Field was playing a more offensive game, that maybe there was less defense allowing them to pile that up, but you got to be a little afraid when the average score is 150 points different between the 2 alliances.
Let's swing it over right now to Lord Plant talking with one member of the Killer Bees. All right, well, there we go. We'll take a break here and continue with our coverage. First in Michigan Robotics. Our state championship continues when we come back to Saginaw Valley State.
We have only to look into each other's eyes to see the story of our planet. But if we move a little to the left and consider the notion of adding the human element to the periodic table of the elements, we see the world for the first time. We work the new chemistry, and in turn, we learn the secret to a better life, where chemistry embraces humanity.
All right, we are back, and I am joined by
Paul Kovacic from Team 2767.
That's right, and you guys just had a big win. Tell me, how'd you do it?
Well, at first we were hoping to do our high shot for Auton, but unfortunately we're working on that right now. So we switched over to our auto gear so we can get those extra points.
We hadn't had a chance to talk to you earlier, so tell me about your alliance and why it's been working.
So we wanted one shooter, one defender, and a very good gear runner. Well, actually a mix of two gear runners. And so we got a good combination between the two, and they really help produce enough points and are very efficient. We're good communicators with each other, and we're just bonding as each match goes on.
All right. Well, good luck the rest of the way, man. We'll see how it turns out.
Thank you.
Okay. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Lauren. Great start for Strike Force and the Blue Alliance, Leland Zebrotics and the Titanium Tigers. You know, we love to see the kind of the traditional names that are here in these championship and semifinal matches, but to have some newer teams coming in, you know, that's exciting as well, too.
Well, it is, and now as soon as you say that, when we look at this next matchup, you're going to see some real familiar names here on our Dow champions on the red side. And because we're going to see the Alliance captain is the Killer Bees, a two-time state champ. Their first pick was the Bionic Blackhawks out of Bloomfield Hills. They've been a state champ. And then an amazing second-round pick is Los Gorillas Team 469, a three-time state champ. So on this Red Alliance, between those three teams, they have 6 state championship trophies.
And we'll step aside here at Saginaw Valley State. More of our semifinal coverage of the First in Michigan Robotics State Championship when we come back.
DTE Energy is committed to giving back. So DTE employees volunteer thousands of hours, working in over 450 communities, with more than 280 charities across Michigan. Why? Because we don't just deliver energy. We want to empower people in the communities where we live and serve. DTE Energy. Know your own power.
Genius is not born. It's nurtured. It's curious. Genius takes teamwork, patience. It keeps going until that moment when it shines. Introducing the Generation Genius Project, a consumer's energy educational initiative to inspire a passion in science, technology, engineering, and math. Discover the genius in all of us.
So our second semifinal matchup, again with some names that we recognize, the Red Alliance with the Los Gorillas, the Killer Bees, and the Bionic Blackhawks. What do we know about their strategy? Dan, what do we know about what they want to do well?
Yeah, so our Dow division winners, that Red Alliance, they have gotten 4 rotors in every match they've played in the elimination rounds, and they've hung 3 robots in every single match. So we know what they're going to do. They're going to go for 4 rotors, and they're going to secure those hangs.
So, Dave, for the Blue Alliance, we're looking at their robots right now. They've got to be about defense.
I think they do have to. I think somehow they've got to slow that Alliance down, because with the fuel that 33 can shoot, they're up against it. But the Engineers can shoot a lot of fuel too. But if they don't get the 4 rotors and the 3 hangs, it doesn't mean anything.
The interesting stat here is the Blue Alliance has never gotten 4 rotors in a match. So for them, it's 3 rotors, fuel, and defense. But on the fuel side, they do have an edge in fuel per match by about 8 points. So if they can keep it to a 3-rotor to 3-rotor match, they have a chance.
So they've got to be able to grab that fuel and still slow down, shut down the Red Alliance from getting that 4th rotor.
Absolutely. If they get the 4th rotor, I think it's game over.
So there's 3 ways for these alliances to score points, and the Red Alliance seems to score well in all of them.
Absolutely.
No Achilles heel. So we'll certainly be interested to see what kind of strategy comes into play for the Blue Alliance.
But there's a lot of experience on that Blue Alliance too. The Engineers, they have made it to state every year, and that began back in 2009. So that Grand Blanc team is awesome. Team 107, there you've got Team Robotics from Holland, Michigan. This is their 21st season in first.
Yep.
They are experienced. And the newbie here is 5561. Another one of those young teams, Dan, where we see them only in their 3rd season, and they're out of Flushing. And just as we had some Northern Michigan UP teams, here we see now the Red Alliance, all Oakland County there. Mm-hmm. And on the Blue Alliance, we've got Holland, and then we've got Genesee County with Grand Blanc. And I think Flushing is probably Genesee County up in that Flint, Grand Blanc area, I believe.
I'm going to defer to you on the geography.
All right.
The familiarity of the Red Alliance and the Blue Alliance, a little bit of a newer mix, but we will see how this plays out in our second semifinal matchup.
Looks like we got, seems like a camera issue. Just trying to troubleshoot the last robot over there, 5561. That's the Raider Robotics, getting their driver station up and running the way that it should be. So we have all 3 robots at full capacity.
Right, so we've got the best of the best helping out here. I see Alex Farrell, one of our excellent field technical advisors over there in the driver's station. Of course, we've got Rob Jenkins also helping out here. All of our referees on the field have all been head referees, and that's why you see our referees all wearing yellow and black. Here, there's a shot of Alan Bennett. The yellow shirt on a referee means they are a head referee, and they all have experience in that. And that is not trivial by any means. A little of how that goes, they have to pass a test. And head referees, typically, I know many of them, including my wife, went to Manchester, New Hampshire to get her training to be a head referee this year.
And one thing to mention, too, about the students that are actually in the airship on the playing field, there is no electronic communication between them and their teammates. So when you're going to see guys and girls banging on the glass, if you will, and yelling, that's about as high-tech as that communication goes, which is not very high-tech.
When everything is going right, you'll see hand signals between the 2 of them. When a pilot forgets to do something, that's when you're going to get a whole lot of banging.
Not those kinds of hand signals either.
I don't know, maybe.
That's
maybe, right.
Having fun before the match, that's good to see, right?
Absolutely.
I think if I were a coach of a team, I would definitely be tempted to have some really goofy hand signals, make my pilot look a little bit silly when they signal the information back.
Now we see a shot from the driver station too. I see Mike Copioli. Mike is Cross the Road Electronics. They supply some of the parts. I know our team up in Elk Rapids, we bought some of their Talon SRXs, which work just great. CAN network, just like we have in our automobiles here in Michigan. So a controller area network. I see on the right there Clinton Bollinger with a thick beard. He is the engineer lead mentor up there, and has been doing a great job with the engineers from day one.
Now, you mentioned a thick beard. You don't have a beard quite as thick as that yet, but in a few more months,
well,
you'll be sporting one just like that, won't you?
Well, the beard was grown for this steampunk theme of the challenge this year, Steamworks, and so that's why I did grow the beard. And my wife is counting the minutes till it goes away.
Yes, indeed.
She is not a fan. So, there it is.
Yeah, we like it. But
look at that.
Take a picture, because in a few hours, it's going to be gone.
No, I still got Houston and St. Louis.
Oh, you're going to save it for Houston and St. Louis?
Yeah, I need to save it for Houston and St. Louis. Oh my gosh, who is the old guy on the screen? When did I get this old? When did this happen?
You just woke up and there it is.
Like Rip Van Winkle. Look at that guy's beard.
Yeah, he probably got that in about 2 weeks.
That's Jacob, another one of our FTAs.
Well, that's like if you watch Tiger baseball, Alex Avila. I think he's got to go shave between innings. That guy,
Yeah.
The day starts out, he comes in clean shaven. By the third inning, it's like 5 inches long.
Uh-huh. So the technical issues, they have.
Oh, and I should say, my mother hates it too. So there you go. My wife and my mother both hate the beard.
That covers everything. Well,
Yeah.
we'll take a break here at Saginaw Valley State as they address the equipment issues. We will have more semifinal coverage of our first in Michigan Robotics State Championship in a moment.
FANUC America is the #1 supplier of robots, CNCs, and factory automation. Our certified automation training prepares students for high-tech careers in advanced manufacturing. Manufacturers use automation to maximize productivity. That's why high-paying careers in advanced automation are in demand today. Our CERT program provides manufacturers and educators a STEM-based curriculum centered on robotics and automation training. Contact FANUC to learn more about our certified automation training programs.
I want to blend my business education and athletic skills and open my own fitness center. At Lawrence Tech, I'm learning how to research, present, and to really think like an entrepreneur. And I love the small college feel here, where there's always something to do. We have men's and women's intercollegiate sports and dozens of student organizations. I can't wait to apply what I'm learning here in the real world. Lawrence Tech, possible is everything.
Fundraising should be fresh, flavorful, and simple. We have the perfect solution at Hungry Howie's, Dough Raiser.
Probably one of the easiest fundraisers that I'm aware of. It's a logical fundraiser. You're buying a pizza and you're not paying $20 for the pizza. You're actually paying a little bit less for the pizza than what it's worth. And so to me, it's a win-win.
Go to doughraiser.com to learn more and sign up. Welcome to Hungry Howie's Dough Raiser.
Your home for high school sports is Michigan's original high school sports show, State Champs. For over a decade, the multiple Emmy Award-winning State Champs covers all sports statewide, 40 weeks a year. Catch State Champs Sundays at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit and StateChampsNetwork.com. Okay, guys, welcome back inside the basketball arena here. That is a robotics festival for this time being here, and we are getting ready to finish up a couple delays they have going here before we get to semifinals too. And we just so happened to catch up with the CEO of Consumers Energy. She is Patty Poppy, and Patty, you said that you're a veteran to these.
You bet. We've been coming for many, many years. Consumers loves and is honored to be a sponsor of this incredible sort of rock concert for super smart people.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what it is. It is so many different things. It is definitely fun with a capital F, no doubt about it. Talk about since you've got the hot team represented here. What does that mean? What does that go back a ways?
My husband is a mentor for the Heroes of Tomorrow, the team from Milford, Michigan, but we're also sponsors Consumers is a sponsor of Team 2611, the Robo Riveters, the Blue Ops. We love these kids. We see the future in the eyes of these students, and we know that our future at Consumers depends on the experiences that they're getting on these teams.
No doubt about it, Patty. Looks like they're ready to go, so I appreciate you taking a second.
Let's get going. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Always nice to see the corporate types, the CEOs, kind of dress down a little bit, kind of just, you know, let their hair down and enjoy the festival and the festive experience here of Michigan high school robotics.
Exactly, to come here and have fun, right? I mean, that's why a lot of them got into engineering. I recall going with General Motors teams. One time we held a pep rally for the GM sponsors team down at the Renaissance Center. And at that time, the president of the corporation was Ron Zarella. And he came down and he had hundreds of kids chanting General Motors. You know, it's not often you have the leader of an organization like GM and have a bunch of kids cheering for you. He loved it.
So looks like the equipment malfunction has been repaired. I think we got a thumbs up on that. So now we're just kind of.
Yeah, I think they just turned it off and back on again.
One of those real complicated fixes. If only it was that easy in real life. And a little signage as well. Norbit the Almighty.
Having a little fun there. Good shot of the Blue Alliance, the entire alliance there.
So in this match, we're going to look for 23-37, the robot on the end there, and 33, the robot opposite them in red. They're both going to be going out and trying to shoot balls into the high goal.
The autonomous period begins.
And let's see who gets the advantage.
Both pounding it in there.
Wow.
The Bees on one end, the Nerds on the other end, along with Holland Christian.
Big point pickup for both teams. Only a 5-point separation as we move into the teleop period. And now all the balls are on the playing field. They've been dislodged from the hopper. In some ways, that's a defensive strategy, not just an offensive strategy, right?
Yeah, we were seeing 23-37. The Engine Nerds is pretty much playing just balls. So by knocking them on the floor, that takes away the ability for them to get the balls dropped directly in their robot. They're going to have to work harder to get those shots off now.
Essentially, there's 500 fuel balls in those 5 hoppers, 100 balls per each hopper out there.
Only a 13-point difference right now with the Blue Alliance leading. As you see there, the Engine Nerds robot lining up and ready to fire up some more fuel into that boiler. And there's 2 rotors spinning.
And Holland Christian is definitely playing defense down here. Let's see where they're going now. Trying to slow down the red machines.
Red Alliance jumping ahead by a little over 25 points.
Holland Christian gives the Bees, or Bionic Blackhawks, a shot.
Well, the Killer Bees just pumping out those fuel into that boiler.
Keeping it close. The Engine Nerds have put in more, though, so it is a 17-point advantage in fuel. I think we've seen a tech foul, though, on Blue, giving Red an extra 25 points. And Red is getting awfully close to that 4th rotor. And as we talked about at the beginning of the match, if they get the 4th rotor, it might be lights out.
Yeah, that's the moneymaker when you get those points late by lighting up all those rotors. And then the climb, of course, is going to be critical as well. Now with 30 seconds left, they're going to try and climb those ropes. Blue Alliance still trailing, but the Red Alliance has just put the gas on the metal, and they are taking off, and they are going to light those beacons and go up to 500 points.
4th rotor and 3 hangs. Blue counters with 3 hangs, but is sitting at only 2 rotors.
And the reason for it, this is, to me, is just amazing. Blue had 2 machines playing defense pretty much that entire match, 55, 61, and 107, and still could not stop the Red Alliance from getting 4 rotors.
I think the plan was 2 rotors, and if they get the KPA bonus, that's going to be, they thought that would be enough points to overcome 3 rotors on the other side, but the defense was not good enough, and they end up getting blown out.
They rolled up 347 points, and they weren't even within striking distance. Wow. Well, the Red Alliance has established themselves as the team to beat.
And the score has just gone official. It is what you see on the screen, 500 to 347. So a little bit of a thumping there.
Yep, and we see 15 foul points for the Blue Alliance, in favor of the Blue Alliance. That was in part from 2834's bumper partially becoming detached from their robot. So they got a penalty for that, but 25 penalty points going back the other way to the Red Alliance for a loading zone infraction. They got hit in the loading zone, and that's 25 points.
Let's pick up our replay, starting with the Blue Alliance in the autonomous period.
That's our guy right there, 2337. They're going to take these balls, and they're just going to rain them down into the hopper there, joined by 107 over here, also shooting 10 balls. You can start with 10 balls in the robot, and together they were able to outscore the Red Alliance in autonomous mode. They actually had the lead coming into the driver control portion.
And then who's got the hang time here at the end? Well, the Red Alliance, this is what took them over the top.
That gear, I believe, is the fourth rotor gear, and you can see very careful, making sure not to drop it out, placing it on. And actually, the intelligence there to drop the ropes first and then crank up that rotor means that their teams, the robots, have the full time to climb. So that's very smart play by the pilot.
And there you'd seen that bumper hanging off the 2834 machine. Good shot of our two pilots there for the Red Alliance. Again, that's another thing you've got to communicate with your alliance partners, right? There are not 3 people up there. There are 2 people up there. So you always have this discussion, right, when you come together with 3 alliance, 3 members of the alliance. Okay, who's going up on the airship? Because everybody's got somebody they'd like to put up on the airship.
Timeout here at Saginaw Valley State as our semifinal matches continue. It's the first in Michigan Robotics State Championship. Stay tuned.
Drivers behind the line, let's get this match started in 3, 2, 1, rush.
Because my ideas matter.
I am a problem solver.
I'm a competitor.
I am an innovator.
Robotics is my sport.
I am a strategist.
I am a motivator.
I discovered my career.
I am a leader. I am the future.
We have only to look into each other's eyes to see the story of our planet. But if we move a little to the left and consider the notion of adding the human element to the periodic table of the elements, we see the world for the first time. We work the new chemistry, and in turn, we learn the secret to a better life, where chemistry embraces humanity.
I'm hoping there's some girls here today that never would have thought they would have wanted to be a scientist or a mathematician or engineer. I'm hoping there's girls now who think they might. That's what we're trying to do, is change those minds.
I want a career in robotics and automation, so I chose Lawrence Tech for its first in Michigan robotics engineering program. LTU's brand new STEM complex has a robotics lab where we can design, build, and program robots in a creative atmosphere. And the best thing is, I haven't graduated yet, but I already have a job in my field. I know I made the right choice for my career. Lawrence Tech, possible is everything.
So we have 2 of our semifinal matches done, and if the Blue Alliance wins this next semifinal match, they will be in the finals.
That's correct, and in the first one, it was the Blue Alliance winning that one, 470 to 260. Dan, what do you think? How does the Red Alliance come back in this one?
Again, that match looks really lopsided. It wasn't as bad as it appeared. We had our consumers in red playing catch up late in the game, missing some hangs because of that. Really, if they had gotten those 2 hangs, I think they missed 1 or 2 hangs, that would have narrowed the gap quite a bit. But they just got to be a little bit faster on their gear game. They can't afford to fall quite so far behind, especially since, Strike Force should have that option to go back and add points through the boiler as well, through the ball scoring.
Right, and I mean, you can't underestimate getting that 4th gear or that 4th rotor, right? Because that 100-point bonus. So you get the 40 points for the rotor and a 100-point bonus. So getting to that 4th one gives you 140 points, and yes, that closes that gap real quick.
You want to be able to play downhill as well, and what I mean by that is when you're up after autonomous mode or you're always the first person to get the rotor, the other team doesn't have that many options. If they switch to defense and they're already behind in rotors, they're not going to catch up and score, right? So once they fell behind a little bit on the rotor game, they kind of lost all of their strategic options. All they could do was go out, try to get the rotors, try to catch up at the last second, try to get through the defense. They need to get a little bit farther ahead at the beginning. They need to keep up at the beginning so they have some of those choices available to them.
Must-win time for the Red Alliance. You see that Brave Bots robot at the bottom of your screen, then the Built on Brains robot. How hard is it for the team that's, kind of got their hat handed to them in that first semifinal match? How hard do they have to re-strategize when you're facing, elimination?
Well, I think it's probably what the speech that Dan just gave. Yes, it looks big. It's not that big because they knew, like in both these last matches, we have to keep doing this because we've got to get to that level, right? I mean, we can't. Losing by a little bit is the same as losing by a lot.
Yep.
And so our only chance to win is to go big, or we're going home anyway.
Yep. So you end up looking stupid some of the time when you take these low percentage plays, but if it's the only play, you got to go for it. Also, last match, there was a 25-point tech foul as well, expanding that gap. If they play a little cleaner, that's another 25 points they can get back. So it's just about execution here for Red. They've got to come out of the gate swinging.
So they'll go for broke, the Blue Alliance, with that win in the first semifinal matchup. And we are ready to let these robots loose in what is our 3rd semifinal matchup. And we start with the autonomous period.
Interesting, 85 is not moving for the Red Alliance at all.
That's stunning, especially from that spot right there, that they would not be pulling forward. And that isn't
to deliver it. Well, they're moving in teleop, so that's not a disaster, but they actually lost out on their 5 mobility points for not crossing the line, so that's going to set them back a little bit.
Blue Alliance comes out with a sizable lead of about 60 points out of the autonomous period as we move into teleop.
Heavy hit there between 85 and 51-14.
Blue Alliance did get both rotors spinning in auto. We can see both lights on, so that's an extra 20 points that they're up as well.
And it looks like Bob is fully functional. So that might have been one where they didn't go through the checklist. They didn't select the right autonomous. It might have been the default that says sit still and don't move. Possibly.
Gear going up for Blue Alliance. Their lead up to about 60 points. Well, then just like that, it goes down to about 20.
Back to 3 rotors apiece. It's almost just the 20 points from that extra rotor and autonomous right now.
That Strike Force machine moves beautifully. That is a fast machine running back and forth there.
Yeah, and the driver is really good to kind of get the full value out of that swerve drive.
Another gear going up for the Red Alliance. That's built on brains. They've got some catching up to do with about a minute left to go here.
They are keeping up. I think they might actually be ahead in the gear count right now. Nope, tied. So they're both just 1 gear away from 4 rotors.
Red Alliance putting more fuel in the boilers as we close in on the climb.
And here comes that big chunk of points as Red finishes the 4th rotor.
And Red's gone way ahead at 293 to 175.
Because that's that 140 points, the 4th rotor and the 100 bonus that goes along with it.
Blue is 1 gear short, but just got delivered by Strike Force there.
Only 10 seconds left.
So now
and the Red Alliance, they are going to light those beacons, and they are going to step up and barely hang on. Oh!
60-75 at the last second.
The Blue Alliance.
Right now, the real-time scoring says it's Blue.
Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Wow.
And I mean, they made it at the last moment there, 60-75, the Leland team.
Yeah, I've seen later climbs than that, but not by much.
Poise under pressure.
We're just about to go final, and it is the Blue Alliance. and so, Dan, here we see the Blue Alliance. They won big the first time and just barely won that time, but they're advancing.
They are advancing, and we saw our Consumers Energy Alliance, our Red Alliance, kind of make the corrections we wanted to see them make. Get clean, get ahead a little bit in the gear scoring, and they did all of that, but they weren't able to slow down the Blue Alliance by enough. And that extra rotor in auto mode, those extra 20 points for that rotor in auto mode, kind of carrying the day at the end with the 17-point victory.
We talk in basketball about, a game-winning shot. Well, the Blue Alliance took their game-winning shot, and they hit it when they had to. As we go to our replays, and let's look back at how this semifinal match unfolded, starting with Autonomous and the Blue Alliance. They didn't get off to a great start, did they?
Well, so we're looking for all 3 of these gears to be delivered. We see 1 delivered here. They're going to have to put 2 more in this section here. That's 1 and that's 2. And if you can get this cranked up so that light right there lights up, that's 40 extra points for scoring those in autonomous mode.
And then the Red Alliance, gosh, they got their big push. And, at 400 and some odd, almost 50 points, that's probably enough to win.
Yeah, and we actually see 85 here taking some shots during the match, missing a lot of them. They could have used those extra points. They did get enough fuel scored to actually take the advantage in fuel points, but not enough to overcome that auto mode rotor that we saw.
Now, I don't know if it's true. Someone said this to me. Is that the 2 rotors in autonomous had maybe been done only 3 times outside of the state of Michigan leading up to this weekend, and now we've seen it here quite a few times this weekend.
Yeah, it was a very big thing leading up to this event. If you did it, you were kind of really special. I think we've seen half a dozen alliances pull it off here.
Right.
Let's go down to our sidelines and bring in Kiara Hay. Kiara?
In the finals, how pumped are you?
I'm super pumped.
Yeah, tell me what your strategy was going into the final games.
Going into the final game, we were going for 4 rotors as fast as possible. We had good scouting on the other teams, knowing they couldn't shoot as much, so we had to be faster and climb more.
And you're a pretty new team. This is only your 2nd year, so is this the farthest you've got so far?
Yes, we made it to Worlds last year, but this is the farthest we've ever made in a tournament.
And how do you think it's going to end up for you tonight?
We're hoping to win.
All right, that's...
expecting to win.
Perfect. All right, back to you guys.
All right, a little late self-confidence coming out there. That's good. Thanks, Kiara. We'll take a timeout here. Our fourth semifinal matchup. When we come back, it's the first in Michigan Robotics State Championship, continuing here from Saginaw Valley State University.
More district action up ahead, but first, last August, the Taubman Complex and Marburger STEM Center opened up to great fanfare on the campus of Lawrence Technological University. Nearly 37,000 square feet of space that included a brand new robotics lab. Here's Kiara Hay.
LTU's robotics engineering program is one of the fastest growing programs on the university. And with growth comes the need for more space. The new robotics lab has state-of-the-art equipment and basically anything you would need to build a robot from scratch.
And what we like about the robotics lab is that it's a thinker space format. There are things that I never imagined as a student having available. There are some really, nice state-of-the-art equipment like CNC machines, 3D printers that they can use to build the robots, and they have the freedom to come in and do whatever they want here.
The lab is open 24 hours, and the students are able to use the lab for schoolwork and personal projects.
The students are always working on amazing projects here, and right now one of the senior projects for the students actually is this robot docent that they're building for the Ford Model T Museum.
The robot will be able to guide the visitors through the museum while answering any questions they have. The project should be complete by the end of spring.
Any student who's doing first robotics is usually very excited about the field of robotics, and this is an opportunity to transition from being a user of robots and having a hobby or passion to actually doing something that can get you a really good job and a lot of money, getting paid a lot of money for it. We have 100% employment rate for any graduates, and actually even students who didn't graduate yet, they have full-time jobs at this moment.
If you are interested in joining the robotics program, apply at ltu.edu.
I want to be a dermatologist, and though a lot of universities tried to recruit me for basketball, Lawrence Tech had the science curriculum that I wanted. LTU's Southfield campus is a great place to learn, and the classes are small enough that I don't have to wait for office hours to talk to my professors. They're usually right by my side, challenging me and guiding me toward a successful future. Lawrence Tech. Possible is everything.
Fundraising should be fresh, flavorful, and simple. We have the perfect solution at Hungry Howie's, Dough Raiser.
Probably one of the easiest fundraisers that I'm aware of. It's a logical fundraiser. You're buying a pizza and you're not paying $20 for the pizza. You're actually paying a little bit less for the pizza than what it's worth. And so to me, it's a win-win.
Go to doughraiser.com to learn more and sign up. Welcome to Hungry Howie's Dough Raiser.
One Alliance has already punched their ticket for the championship match as we look at how things have shaped up so far in the semifinals.
Yeah, and so in this one now we've got our Dow champions against our DTE Energy champions. Dow is up 1-0 on this one. Again, the first one here was lopsided like the first one was in the other semifinal, but we saw a much, much, much closer match in that second one.
Yeah, we saw one of the advantages that our DTE Alliance has is that they have been winning the autonomous mode fuel scoring contests every match. Their average was actually 8 points higher, but in that last match, which was very close, they only outscored the other alliance by 3 points. So either our Dow team is picking up the game or our DTE Alliance may be down a little bit on their scoring that match, and that's somewhere where they have to win big to overcome the 4 rotors.
Yeah, because this is one where in the first one, a couple of the Blue Alliance machines, the DT Energy machines, were playing defense, and the Dow Alliance and the Red Bumpers still got 4 rotors going.
So as we strategize, we know the Red Alliance, they're not changing anything.
Nope.
They're going to stand pat. Blue Alliance, they're going to have to get creative. Something's got to give because the Red Alliance has got to be disrupted somehow.
Yeah, and that Red Alliance, probably hard to ruffle their feathers. A lot of experience down there. The Gorillas, 18th season. The Killer Bees, 22nd season. and the Bionic Blackhawks their 9th season. A lot of matches under their belts.
Sometimes experience does mean a lot and can be a big intangible factor.
And I would look for the Blue Alliance to actually come out and try to play the same strategy better. I think we're still going to see a lot of defense from them. I think if they don't stop the 4th rotor, you know, the match is over. So they have to focus on keeping the gear scoring down, and they cannot give up that 4th rotor.
And so it begins for the Red Alliance. If they win, they will be in the championship.
And so the Engineers and the Killer Bees both pounding that boiler.
Wow, a lot of points in the teleop period for both teams. And only about a 7-point differential.
Yep,
30 points for Blue. Last match.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of points here in this match no matter what.
And so right now they both have 2 rotors going, so the advantage on the big board goes a little bit to the Blue Alliance right now based on the fuel. And there are the Engineers. More fuel going in.
And we have not seen the 2 far side hoppers have not been released yet, so the Engineers are going to get a free load of balls here as they go over and try to load it up. Although 469 pushing them out of the way, making them miss a lot of that drop.
Look at the strategy of 5561. They're sitting right at the peg. That is a smart move.
Yep.
And that's not a penalty.
No.
It is not.
And so if 107 sat at another peg and just sat there.
And I think
Blue Alliance is up by about 50 points here.
I'm looking
I think they are. I think they're parked on the far side, playing defense on the far side there.
And so now the Engineers, look at, they're going to play just defense. They are going to try to totally shut down the gear game of the Red Alliance.
See if the Killer Bees make a shift to offense too here, and they are.
And the Red Alliance.
And the Barons might go to shooting too.
Putting up shots into the boiler. They're going to have to get more points. Blue Alliance has been stuck on that 182 for a while.
Now 5561 does move away. Raider Robotics from that peg.
As does 107. Let's see if they go for the 3rd gear or not at this point in the match.
So it looks like the defense is throttled down. And with only about 30 seconds left, we're going to see if these machines can climb the ropes and light those beacons. And this is where it's going to get very interesting as the Blue Alliance, again, has to win to extend their chances to get to the championship. Right now, they're down about 35 points.
And there's only 10 seconds left now in the match, but 107 is having a hard time climbing.
Red Alliance down now by 30 points.
Red dropped a gear at the end, which would have given them the 3rd rotor.
And it doesn't matter because they will survive in advance.
Missed hang by 107. Team Robotics not getting up there. We saw them struggling on the rope. And those 50 points, the difference.
Wow. What a fantastic defense they put up. And now, because of the missed hang, end of the road for them.
And that's part of the risk you run. They stayed by the opposing airship till late in the match.
Well, actually, Dan, they were over there in plenty of time.
Before the ropes dropped.
Yes. There's a mechanical failure there. They were there in plenty of time, and just the machine was not climbing. So it wasn't that they waited too long. It was a failure of a mechanism, I do believe, for them to climb.
So it was very close, and not the runaway that the first semifinal match was for the Red Alliance, but they hang in.
And quite honestly, it would have been a win, except for what I believe is a failure of the machine there.
Let's pick up our replay here and look first at the autonomous period for the Blue Alliance. Again, they had to win to stay in this championship.
Right, again, getting the advantage in autonomous mode, again, with the 2 robots shooting to only 1 on the red side. So 23-37 and 33 going about even in balls. 23-37 maybe a little bit ahead, but 107 adding on
so
to 6 or 7
here's
balls.
At the end.
Yep.
So they're going up to climb. If we could see the clock, perhaps. See, there's plenty of time. The other guys haven't even climbed yet.
And you can see it sort of stalling out.
Right.
So there's definitely a problem with that mechanism. And you're right, there's still 13 seconds left, 10 seconds left in the match at this point.
Can you lower that rope
Yeah, that's something that
from where they're at.
A lot of the robots you cannot. What they actually do is they put a ratchet mechanism on there so it can only run one way. And here we're seeing 469, very fast climb. 2834 getting lined up in time here, climbing as well.
Another pretty good climb.
And on the backside, the Killer Bee is actually going very late, trying to score that last gear. We can see right here just one gear missing for 40 more points. And actually, they dropped that gear a little bit rushed. If they had scored that gear, the missed climb wouldn't have mattered. They would have won 3 climbs to 3 climbs. So that gear also very, very pivotal.
Now there's a shot. I assume this is going to be the 107 machine. That mechanism in there, and clearly they played it right. They got over there in plenty of time.
So our championship match is set, and we'll step aside and continue with our coverage of the first in Michigan Robotics State Championship. More from Saginaw Valley State in a moment.
The DTE Energy Foundation has been helping communities grow and prosper for over 32 years. They're also big supporters of FIRST Robotics, and they sponsor 13 teams.
The Aztec Eagles Team 4680 attended competitions in Woodhaven, and they've benefited tremendously from DTE.
We started our team in 2013. This is our 5th year. And we've been increasing the level of success every year. One of our biggest sponsors is the DTE Foundation. They give us a substantial amount to not just compete, but also buy extra parts that we want to upgrade our robot. We didn't just do the base chassis, we upgraded that. We are able to buy more motors. And it seems like maybe money doesn't buy everything, but money gives us the chance to teach more.
Aside from financial support, DTE also has employees that volunteer their time to mentor teams and work FIRST events.
It's the first time we've done it, but we did an all RECD alliance. It's the Robotics Engineering Center of Detroit. All of us build at the same center. We're really good friends with each other. We build the entire season right next to each other, literally right across the tape line. Our alliances, us, the Aztec Eagles, the Cougars 5901 and Mercy Ed 5915, we're all sponsored by the DTE Foundation.
In 2015 alone, the DTE Foundation awarded $15 million in grants that have impacted 450 communities across Michigan. To find out more about the DTE Foundation and their community development efforts, go to newlook.dteenergy.com. For RoboZone, I'm Kiera Hay.
All right, guys, hey, welcome. We're inside the field here, getting a chance to catch up with now a winning alliance that is in the finals, and you guys kind of came in. And we're talking with Brigitta from the Las Gorillas, and she is part of the group that includes the Killer Bees and the Bionic Bots. Bionic Blackhawks. Sorry, so many bots. But just tell me, because I feel like I've been through the gamut and the run today. How are you guys holding up?
Oh my, it's been absolutely insane. We tried a different system the other day and didn't come out so well. But yesterday we went back to our old system, which was reliable and consistent. So we're really happy we got picked by bees. That was a stroke of luck. And it's just been crazy today. I mean, everything's been going as well as it could, knock on wood. But last match was a little insane, but that was some good strategy played.
Yeah, and that is really the thing, too. It's like you don't want to jinx it, right? But things really have been going well for you guys. Tell me why you guys have what seems to be a almost unbeatable strategy.
I don't know. Bees are really good at shooting, and they can cycle a couple of gears, and then Blackhawks do their thing and cycle, and we're a fast cycler. So we can get those 4 rotors pretty easily, and then bees can shoot to give us kind of like a safety blanket. So it's pretty good.
So give me quickly your finals preview.
Oh, finals preview? We win. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're probably going to go back and review what teams we're going against and see what's most effective. But yeah.
All right, Brigitta, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Have
you.
a good day.
All right, guys. Yeah, it's now down to the final 2 alliances. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see who's going to win.
She blew right by the preview and went to the end of the story.
There you
right?
go.
That's, complete self-confidence.
Well, there it is on the screen, Dan.
Yeah, again, so the Dow winners, 33, 28, 34, 469. make it through. I think that was some very good strategy by the Engine Nerds Alliance, trying to shut down the pegs. They did get a penalty during that match, though, for damaging the field, I think, for sitting on those pegs and doing damage to them. But again, that match was close in two ways. The missed hang obviously won it for the Red Alliance. The Red Alliance could have also won it with that last second gear, and I think 2 or 3 of the robots had that gear, and we're not quite ready to deliver it with the short amount of time left. I think that if they played another match with the same strategy, though, they might have been a little bit more composed, knowing that those robots have to leave with 30 seconds left, and that's 3 gears they can deliver before hanging. So it would have been interesting to see that play out again. I really wish we had a chance to watch that strategy play out again, but it is not to be.
Right now they're probably pleading for a 3 of 5 format as opposed to a 2 of 3. But anyway, here's how the championship match is set up with the Dow winner against the Ford winner. And wow, are we going to see some points?
Yep, and leading up to the last match, the Dow winner had never missed a 4th rotor, had never missed a climb. They still haven't missed a climb, but of course they did not get their 4th rotor in that last match thanks to the creative defense.
And the one thing I'd like to point out, the max scores. This is not to be given to the Dow winners. The max score, 507 over there from our Ford winners. So this is anybody's.
And if anything, the knock on this Ford winner alliance coming into here was a huge variance in their scores. We saw some bad matches from them and some good matches from them back on Ford Division field. But since they've come out here, their scores have been consistently high. 470 to 465.
Right.
So they're definitely within striking range.
Yeah, and the two scores for the Dow winners were 500 and 304. So would you expect with what the Ford folks just saw done to the Dow, the Killer Bees, might they try that strategy?
They might, but the big difference here is the Ford Alliance actually is capable of getting 4 rotors on their own. The Ford Alliance, the DTE Alliance from the last match, pretty much the way that alliance was built had no chance of getting 4 rotors. They were forced into a corner there.
Correct, yeah.
Stay tuned for our championship match, the first match of the championship when we come back to the First in Michigan Robotics State Championship from Saginaw Valley State.
Genius is not born. It's nurtured. It's curious. Genius takes teamwork, patience. It keeps going until that moment when it shines. Introducing the Generation Genius Project, a consumer's energy educational initiative to inspire a passion in science, technology, engineering, and math. Discover the genius in all of us.
Consumers Energy believes that everyone has a little genius in them, and that's why they dedicate so much time and finances into educating the next generation. Generation Genius is a resource for students, teachers, and parents to find lessons and games on electricity and natural gas. The program's main goal is to get students interested in STEM, which is why Consumers Energy is a key sponsor for First in Michigan.
What I think is exciting to be able to come to a competition like this and check out all the backs of the shirts of a lot of the supporting companies, and I see a lot of Consumers Energy logos on that. We're definitely proud to be one of those teams.
Greg is a mentor for the Blue Ops Team 4216, and they've been performing very well in competitions this season, and they've been the recipient of multiple awards.
Most recently, we received a world-class performance delivered by a hometown team award from Consumers Energy based on our performance in week 1 and some of the other things that we've been doing in the community. It was such a great opportunity to see that, Consumers believes in us, they got our backs, and I'm just but one in a large ocean of Consumers Energy employee volunteers that come out and support.
Consumers Energy commitment to STEM and robotics is all about Michigan's future.
We deliver energy through whether it was like natural gas or electricity, customer services. A lot of that takes STEM education, and we really want to be able to encourage that for students and give them every opportunity and all the support possible so that they can flourish, graduate, go into college, and start their own careers and get back to their communities like we do.
To find out more about Generation Genius, go to consumersenergy.com/genius. For RoboZone, I'm Kier Hay.
We are back as we get settled in for the championship. Again, it's best 2 of 3, so the first one to win 2, they will win the state championship in the First in Michigan robotics competition. There is more robotics ahead for a lot of the schools that were here this weekend, so it's not the end of the line per se, but obviously winning your state championship before you go to St. Louis or Houston in the upcoming weeks is a lot to be excited about.
Absolutely. You know, these teams that are in this final match will do very well in St. Louis. With the majority of the teams here in Michigan going to St. Louis, so we're talking about 80-some teams.
Yeah, we get to send 82, but a few extra teams are going to probably sneak in. We've got some Hall of Fame teams which get a free pass and don't count against the 82.
Right, and so when you say there's going to be 402 teams in St. Louis, and 80 of them are from Michigan,
wow.
one in 5 teams there will be from Michigan. And with what we've seen here this weekend, I think we're well prepared. Now, we said earlier in the show, there are great teams from other places. California builds great teams, and a lot of them will be going to Houston, maybe all of them. Clearly, Ontario, a lot of powerhouses come out of Ontario. We've got some strong East Coast teams and little pockets here and there from all over the country. And so it is by no means a slam dunk for Michigan teams when you go to these championships. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But just the fact that there are so many teams going there speaks to the strength and infrastructure of what the high school robotics teams are involved with here.
Well, and we had a visit earlier today, right, from our governor, Governor Rick Snyder, who has been just a tremendous supporter, and the governor, along with the Michigan government and the funds they've helped provide, have really helped, you know, FIRST Robotics grow here in the state of Michigan. With 450 teams, it's just awesome.
Good look at the gear slide there. It looks like they're going to be replacing that one. Maybe bent gear, maybe it's not sliding as cleanly as it should be.
Yeah, if you haven't been to a field or seen these, what the little prong that sticks out is actually a spring. And one really painful thing I saw last week in Traverse City, one of the robots' gear or rope climbing mechanism, right, that rotary thing you see, grabbed onto a gear and it grabbed onto the spring and it wrapped the spring around the climbing mechanism.
Oh no.
And you know, as a human, it was painful just to look at it. If those robots had feelings, there would have been a lot of screaming going on, and you would have quickly had to inject them with morphine or something, because it was painful to see it, even though it was a mechanical structure.
That spring probably had to be replaced after
it did have to be replaced.
So
and it took a while to do it.
So our championship match is all set now, and wow, if you just watching what we saw in the semifinals, we know that these teams are loaded with firepower and the ability to score points. So they know what they do well. They're not going to change what they do best. So we're going to see a lot of scoring here in this championship match.
Yeah, match one should be offense against offense, strength against strength, and then we'll see who loses, you know, what they're going to do to adjust afterwards. One interesting thing that's happening here is, because of the way that the seeding works when we come to this one field with our 4 divisional winners, the Dow Division teams that have been playing on this field all day have been the Red Alliance all day. They are now the Blue Alliance.
Yeah.
And the other alliance had been playing blue in the semifinal.
Now
They're now red. So I don't know if that's going to maybe throw off their auto modes at all, if that's going to maybe throw off their drivers at all, but it is a change to note.
Right, and because part of that, the field is not exactly symmetrical from one side to the other. You see that the boilers are on the same side of the field, and the retrieval zones are on the same side. So the field, when you switch sides, is not the same. It is not as symmetric as it.
The path that you're going to drive will be a mirror.
Yes.
So that instead of turning right, you got to turn left, or instead of turning left, you got to turn right, which means it is a completely different pre-programmed auto mode that these teams are going to run. And I know from experience that keeping all of your auto modes tuned in is sometimes difficult. And you know, if you're the Dow team that's been playing red all afternoon, you have a lot of focus on that particular auto mode and making sure that one is tuned in. And now, kind of a curveball, they're going to have to go the other direction.
Right. And the margin for error also shrinks when you have, because if you make one mistake and they don't make anything that's significant, you know, a small mistake could end up being a lot bigger when you're on this big stage.
For sure, especially with the scores that these two alliances have been putting up. You know, one mistake is all it's going to take.
Right. And that switching the field around, I thought about NASCAR. Just think if on the morning of the Daytona 500, you said to all those drivers, guess what? We're not driving counterclockwise. We're gonna drive clockwise today. Good luck. Have fun with that.
Start your engines.
Yeah. So Dan mentioned the big scores too. So the 4 winning scores that these teams come to this finals with, the alliance with the blue bumpers on now, their winning scores were 500 and 304. The alliance in the red bumpers, their winning scores were 470 and 465.
Of course, the shutdown block the pegs defense in the 304-point match. Still, 304 points would have won a lot of districts earlier in the season.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So again, the crowd experience here today at Saginaw Valley State has been great, and we mentioned that throughout this weekend, the scope and scale of this event, grows, not by leaps and bounds, but it's been a steady growth every year.
Right, and so where the state championships began was in 2009 at Eastern Michigan University. And so when we were at Eastern Michigan University, which was a fantastic venue, beautiful venue, we could handle 64 teams there. And with the growth in the state, we needed to get more teams. And so then we went to the Deltaplex in Grand Rapids. And so last year we were there and had 102 teams. Still not enough, because with the growth of the overall teams, that was less than 1 in 4 teams getting the state championship. And now we come to this beautiful facility, 160 teams, and they seem to be able to handle it very well.
Yep. Yeah.
Right next to where we're sitting is an indoor practice football field that right now, even with the pits, there would be room for a lot more teams in the pit area. I don't think we could shoehorn another field in here, though. Maybe. I don't know.
Not if you want it to stay rectangular.
Yeah.
It's a logistical challenge, but one that the leaders of the First in Michigan Robotics organization gladly accept. They embrace it. They want to keep pushing the envelope so that more and more schools can get sucked into this great experience.
Right. And just another great university, right? For those of you watching from outside the state, right, you know the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. You know Michigan State in East Lansing. 2 great Big Ten schools. I'm a Michigan grad, love it. And yet you come here, right, probably most of them haven't heard of Saginaw Valley State University. And you come to this campus, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful campus here with a beautiful facility.
And a boisterous crowd. But that is per usual here on Championship Saturday in the First in Michigan Robotics competition.
All right, the long introductions are over. The customary handshake has been executed. And now we're ready for showtime here.
And so what we're going to look at is on the Blue Alliance from Dow, we're going to look for 1 rotor and pressure being scored in the high goal. From the other alliance, from the Red Alliance here from Ford, we're going to actually look for, they've been doing a double rotor auto where everybody scores a gear.
The autonomous period begins. The Red Alliance putting that gear up. And we watch the Killer Bees pummeling that boiler. But Red Alliance, boy, did they get a lot of points. 121. Blue Alliance way behind as of right now.
They did not get an autonomous rotor at all on the Blue Alliance. So they'll catch up a little bit here as they start to score their gears. but Red did not get the double, only the single autonomous rotor.
Right, Red missed it by like a second or two. They were close. The gear was there. They didn't get it wound up in time.
And they dislodged all the balls from the hopper, so anything goes here in this first championship match. Oh, big scores going in there for the Red Alliance.
Right.
And for the Strike Force.
Switching back to shooting here in between delivering their gears.
So if they had an issue with their shooter, they clearly fixed it because they just pounded a lot of them into that boiler.
Yeah, that's going to put them up about 80 points. Sorry, 70 points.
And they're playing from ahead. They're up a rotor, and they have time to go and take these extra fuel shots, so they're up 23-9 in fuel as well.
Blue Alliance trying to come from behind. We can see that they've got 3 rotors going, as does the Red Alliance. And back to the boilers for the Red Alliance. Again, it's the Strike Force robot. Now the lead is just 20 points for the Red Alliance inside a minute left.
Strike Force having a little trouble unloading that gear. The peg didn't get lowered down, and now they drop it.
And it's getting close. We're 2 gears short on the blue side for that 4th rotor. It looks like we are 3 gears short on the red side.
Again, the big push will come here in the last 30 seconds when the robots go to work climbing that rope, and the Killer Bees taking one last shot at the boiler before they head for the climb. The ropes come out.
Here comes the 4th rotor for the Blue Alliance.
Blue Alliance getting a big jump. Those robots going right up to the beacon. They light 2.
And 469 holding in.
That was the trap. Let's see if they can get back and hang themselves, though.
51-14.
Quick latch on both sides.
Red Alliance climbing, and they light all 3 beacons, but is it enough to topple the Blue Alliance? It seems like it won't be.
Now 4th rotor for Blue, those 100 bonus points, just too much to overcome, I think.
Yep, and fuel was exactly the same, 29 and 29. And still they get that 4th rotor. 3 hangs, 4th rotor. 29 fuel points.
Again, if you don't block the pegs on this alliance, it seems like they're going to put up 4 rotors match after match.
Wow. Phenomenal. So the Blue Alliance, their 3 robots, Las Gorillas, Killer Bees, and the Bionic Blackhawks, a convincing win in this first championship match. As we take a look at our replay and see where this first championship match was won.
A little bit of defense there by 33, but this is where we see 27-67 Strike Force getting free with a load of balls, and here's where they show us their shooter is fine, completely fine. Just a stream of balls going, and that's dialed in, right? They're missing a couple. You're gonna miss a couple when you shoot, but that was really high percentage. And then just backing right up for the gear. Yep, little trouble there.
And there we go.
Looks like it's sitting a little low, the gear or the.
Oh.
And they did lose that one.
Here's Blue Alliance playing some defense.
So again, the Killer Bees is Notre Dame prep school.
Yep, locking on here at the end, 2 quick climbs, and we can see kind of just in the background, 469 here, playing some defense on the Titanium Tigers. They sort of both held each other up, released, but both of those robots are just so fast at latching on and climbing, so consistent, that they both hung anyway. So a little bit of wasted defense, but still good enough for the Blue Alliance.
And Sal, now we've got a timeout in progress. They get to cool their motors, change the battery, talk some strategy again. And so, Dan, does this Red Bumper Alliance, do they have to go to that game of trying to play defense? Because I think they have to, right? Don't they?
Yeah, but we've seen them score 4 rotors before. They were even in pressure scoring. You know, there is a world where they say, hey, look, let's go back, let's try again. We didn't execute as well as we can. and try to bring the score up. But I think that there was a moment in that match where they knew they were behind on the fourth rotor, and they really should have switched to defense to try to lock down the blue robots for finishing their fourth rotor.
But if they, can be 1 or 2 points up with fuel, keep going for that fourth rotor.
I think what we'll see is if they actually get the double rotor autonomous, right? That's a 20-point bonus. It's hard to overcome that with just fuel in the autonomous section. So we'll see a pretty close score. But depending on how that goes, I think whoever's ahead in autonomous, can play to try to finish their fourth rotor and use the extra time to maybe shoot some more balls. Whoever's behind after autonomous, they either need to start running gears faster, and I think that's where you go first. You start the match saying, okay, well, we'll catch up in gears, get ahead in gears, and if you don't, you have to shift to defense.
And we'll have our next championship match when we come back to Saginaw Valley State as the Blue Alliance having to win to extend this championship Saturday. It's the first in Michigan Robotics Championship when we come back to Saginaw Valley State.
FANUC America is the world's leading supplier of CNC technology. And with that increased number of machines, that means they need more skilled workers to run them. So they're starting to train kids as early as high school. FANUC America has 1,500 training robots that are in over 600 classrooms all around the country. The Branch Area Career Center got their FANUC robots about 3 years ago.
The Branch Area Career Center is a fully functional vocational tech center. It services 4 local high schools and has about 400 students. Our program is a one-semester course that allows students to learn about FANUC robotics, automation, and programming.
The program teaches its students all about robotic safety practices and terminology, but most importantly, they get hands-on training using industry-standard equipment.
The training's prepared me by giving me basic knowledge of FANUC robots and then also certification in FANUC, so that'll be something I'll be able to use all throughout my future.
In addition to training high school students, the BACC has a night course for adults. The program continues to grow each semester, which is great because employers are actively seeking skilled workers.
As time goes on and more of the employers learn about what we have here, more are coming to us and saying, what do you have there, and how we can create the pipeline from BAC students into their business.
It's just a great program. I highly recommend it. I've learned so much, and my future is set because of it.
We really appreciate the partnership with FANUC Robotics. It allows our students to gain some great education and some real-world experience with technology that's used out in industry.
To find out if a school in your area offers advanced automation training, visit FANUCamerica.com/cert. For RoboZone, I'm Kiera Hay.
FANUC America is the #1 supplier of robots, CNCs, and factory automation. Our certified automation training prepares students for high-tech careers in advanced manufacturing. Manufacturers use automation to maximize productivity. That's why high-paying careers in advanced automation are in demand today. Our CERT program provides manufacturers and educators a STEM-based curriculum centered on robotics and automation training. Contact FANUC to learn more about our certified automation training programs.
All right, welcome back to Saginaw Valley State. We haven't had an opportunity to talk to many pilots today, and this is the first year where you guys are actually in the competition, in the field. So this is Mary, the Killer Bees. You guys have one in the bag now, and so, I would imagine some of the pressure is off now because you've got one in the bag. But talk about your role specifically and how important it is.
So my role basically is a lot of the scoring part of the whole tournament. So it's a lot of pressure to kind of know ahead of time which robots are coming to the airship and which ones are already there, and if there's what time it is, so I can know when to drop the ropes. So it's a lot of pressure, and you have to kind of think 12 steps ahead of everything, but it works out.
Yeah, you're like the captain, right? The quarterback, because you're calling this signal, telling them where everybody go. People don't realize that everybody's looking at you for direction.
Yes, it's so nerve-wracking, but also really honorable to have that opportunity to do this.
Right, and you guys obviously are having a blast.
Yes, before every match I try to dance, get the teams excited, have some fun myself.
Right, exactly. And she's a senior this year, so this is your last go-around. Well, good luck. I'm not going to jinx anything. You guys just keep doing what you do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, back to you guys.
Yeah, embracing the experience and enjoying the opportunity. Yeah, that's a lot of anxiety, some anxious moments up there. Again, trying to stay calm under pressure, not easy.
Absolutely not. That is a high pressure position, and in fact, this morning, I helped with the opening ceremony here, and I gave a shout out to those pilots because right there, up there, you get to that end of the match, people are screaming at you, they're yelling at you, they're pounding on the glass. It's like, hey, we need to give these pilots a little bit of love. They've been being yelled at all season long, and it's not for the faint of heart to board those airships and do that job. Now, we don't want anybody tuning out, but we're just looking at some scores from our Ontario Provincial Championship, and our friends to the north are putting up some big scores too. So believe me, it's going to be great to see the great teams from Canada when we get to these championship events and see how our Michigan teams line up. But no doubt there's something magic in the water up in Canada there too, because they build great machines in Ontario.
Where is the base of strength in Canada? Is it all based in the Ontario area, or is it spread out more?
Primarily around Toronto, I would say, but I don't know their geography like I know our Michigan geography.
Oh, really?
No, I don't.
Wow.
I don't.
Found the hole.
Yeah.
I thought you covered all of North America.
Oh, I got to get to know that a little better up there. I know a huge percentage of the Canadian population lives within a short distance of the U.S.-Canadian border. There is a lot of wilderness up in Canada.
Yeah.
When you look at Canada, there is a lot of wilderness still up in that great country.
The robots are lining up exactly the same as last match, so no autonomous changes from either alliance.
Again, if the Blue Alliance wins, they will be state champions in Michigan robotics. And the Red Alliance, I mean, they've been great. So it's not like finishing in second is any, great. It's not shameful. It's just, sometimes everybody hits their ceiling, and the Red Alliance, sometimes you can be really, really good, but just not quite good enough.
Yeah, but it's not over, though. It's not over. That first one, was still close. It's that fourth rotor, right, if they can do it. A key will be to look for those two rotors in autonomous for this Red Alliance, right, Dan?
They only got one last time, but they're going for two. So we'll see if they can get it this time.
So from our vantage point, we see Strike Force pulling up there. Theirs is, oh no, 60-75 missed theirs. They will not get two. 60-75 did not get their gear on.
Our Blue Alliance, both 28-34 and 469 scored their gears, so there's no deficit in gears this time. It's just the 20 points from fuel that is an advantage. 21 now, that is an advantage for our Blue Alliance.
Killer Bees leading the Blue Alliance out of the gate, already up 50 points now, 161 to 115.
All right.
Not a huge margin, but still sizable.
So Dan, what does the Red Alliance do now? What do they do?
Well, it looks like they're going for gears. And like I said, I think that's the first thing to do. If you can get some quick gears, if the other alliance maybe bobbles a few,
they just
you can come back. But yeah, the Red Alliance is starting to fall farther and farther behind here.
Yep, so Strike Force dropped that one before placing it. Here they're trying again. Now they're getting a little bump from the Bionic Blackhawks.
And now Strike Force getting that gear up, but they got work to do.
And you see 28-34 trying to deliver one and struggling to do so. Backing up again, and just so quick, the Bees come in, pop theirs on, and they're gone.
Yeah, and we saw the last time, I think 469 was collecting a gear. They drew a retrieval zone penalty. That's a tech foul. That's going to add 25 points to the Blue Alliance's score. That's how we sort of saw it grow by another 25 points there.
Leland Zebrotics getting another gear up for the Red Alliance. but still down about 50 points here inside 1 minute left in this match.
Now 28-34 going on defense against 27-67.
And 51-14, Titanium Tigers, radio problem. They have not been moving for the last, I want to say 20, 30 seconds. The reboot finally finished, so they're back in the match now, but that's going to hurt a lot.
Red Alliance takes another gear up, but the Blue Alliance piling up that lead with all 4 rotors activated.
So all that's left for Blue to do now is shoot some balls and go hang. Don't miss the hang, and it's pretty much lights out at this point.
Right. That's where I even think like 469.
It's not
Let him
worth
go.
it. Let him go and make sure you get your hang. I mean, you've hung every single match. There's no reason to put any sort of question mark on this one.
Blue Alliance. They are putting the hammer down here on the Red Alliance, and we go to 0 on the clock at almost 500 points. And the Blue Alliance, Los Gorillas, Killer Bees, and the Bionic Blackhawks will celebrate a state championship in robotics here in Saginaw.
Absolutely. And very deserving of it, right? I mean, they were awesome.
Yep. And they just played the same strategy every match. We saw a little bit of defense in the semifinals, forcing them to change it up. But, you know, just 4 rotors after 4 rotors after 4 rotors. They were our best rotor alliance here in the finals, and, you know, that advantage was just too much.
So 4 straight wins. 4 straight wins from them.
Yeah, they actually, I don't think they lost a match in their divisional tournament either. So they made it through 5 rounds of this tournament without dropping a single match.
And now it's official in the arena here. The official score has gone up, 499 to 205. And appropriately, Queen, we are the champions.
Yes, let the celebration begin.
Yeah.
3 powerhouse schools combining forces.
Yeah, so we saw a lot of outstate teams, but here it is, back to Oakland County. 3 Oakland County powerhouses here. Working together, 2 from Bloomfield Hills, 1 from Auburn Hills.
Yep, so that's what? That's 4 now for 469, 2 for 28-34, and I think 3
That's, yes.
for 33?
I believe that is correct.
That's too many 3s.
Well, let's take a look.
That's a lot of 3s.
Let's do our replay and take a look at kind of where the separation came for the Blue Alliance.
So that big hit there may be contributing to the Titanium Tigers' issues later in the match, but a couple of clean gears being scored by our Blue Alliance.
You see the bees around the back of the spaceship there. They can drop gears off very quickly. And here's a close-up of that. Boom, they're there, it's gone, they're on their way.
It's so fast, right? And that's what you need to be able to do. And then they poached another gear. So the other alliance dropped that gear on the floor. They didn't have to cross the entire field there. It was just waiting for them. So that's 2 gears real fast.
Yeah, and that pickup from the floor is huge to be able to do that.
Yeah, the Red Alliance was kind of struggling to get their gears up. They just kind of couldn't really get their mojo back. And yeah, they are the champions.
Yeah, I think if there's anything, a lesson learned to me.
Who's enjoying it more, the kids or the adults?
Well, I know there's one adult out there who's a big kid, and he is your RoboZone star, and he's enjoying it. And I can't imagine how many hours Jim Zondag puts in. I don't know if he sleeps.
Hey, you know what? I don't think he even thinks it's work.
I don't think so.
Not based on that face.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. Yep.
Nobody that happy looks at it as work. And it's been a great, raucous environment here at Saginaw Valley State, and they're going to celebrate. They're going to celebrate. Then they're going to have to get ready and focus on what's next, St. Louis and Houston. Yeah,
fortunately, really fortunate is that the St. Louis Championship is not next weekend. At least it's 2 weekends away, because, a lot of these teams now will find out today if they're qualified to go to St. Louis. That means transportation, hotel rooms. There's a lot of work to get done before you get there. And a lot of teams, it's like, how do we come up with the funding? Guess what? They'll find funding.
And don't forget the robot. You got to keep iterating. You got to keep improving the robot till the last match is played.
That's right. Because, again, I guarantee you the folks from, again, Ontario, again, they're putting up big scores there. And I'm sure we have people all over the United States that have been watching us here today. And they're thinking, too, how they can improve their machines. They're going to have to face off against these.
The Blue Alliance is our champion in Michigan robotics this year. The Gloss Gorillas, the Killer Bees, the Bionic Blackhawks. Let's go to the winner's circle and join Lauren Plant. Lauren?
Thank you very much, guys. You did a great job, but these guys getting it done. Unbelievable. What a performance today by literally all three. You guys couldn't have done it without each other. First off, tell me your name.
My name is Peter.
Peter, what do you think ultimately was the difference in why you guys put on such a dominating performance?
Well, we decided that the only way to beat our strategy was with our own strategy. So at this point, it was just a matter of execution, and we executed.
That's right. Kira, who you got?
All right, I'm coming right over here. You guys had a ton of tough matches, but what would you say is your hardest one?
Let's see. I would think against the finals of the Dow division against 67 and their alliance, they put up a really good fight, and that was probably the hardest one.
Yeah, you guys won that one by a close race, but this was an incredible championship game. I'm so excited for you guys. Blue Alliance took it home.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And let me tell you this, it's just the fact that we got a little Oakland County family right here as well, right? We got Bloomfield Hills, we got, it's crazy. So, what's your name?
My name is M. Calvinesso.
That's right, and he is the biggest RoboZone fan here, right?
I am the biggest RoboZone fan here. No one's a bigger RoboZone fan than I am.
Except maybe Jim.
No, not Jim.
No. So, seriously, though, I mean, you guys, you swept.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, talk about that achievement.
Yeah. All right, so it all started in Alliance selection. 469 slipped through the cracks. Oh, my goodness. They slipped through, and we were able to pick them up. We also got Blackhawks over here picking up gears from the floor. You know it. Always hanging, and then we just keep winning 4 rotors after 4 rotors. I don't think we missed 4 rotors once. Oh wait, yeah, once. No, Editors played sneaky strategy on us, but hey, props to them. They're smart people, and I love them all. And thank you, RoboZone. I love RoboZone.
Right, and now it's time for Worlds. Yeah! All right, guys, that's it from right here. They got some celebrating to do.
Yeah!
Yeah, and save some of that energy for the Worlds that are coming up. So any final thoughts, guys, before we sign off?
Fantastic championship. Great venue, the 160 teams. I think the 4 divisions worked splendidly in bringing them together. I think it was an awesome event.
Yeah, and I enjoyed all of the matches. So this is close-fought matches all the way till the end. Interesting strategies. I think teams that were here playing here learned a lot, and they're going to take it with them to the World Championship.
Yeah, it's been a great afternoon. We'd like to say thanks to everybody involved in our presentation today. Dan Kimura, Dave Verbrugge, I'm Dan Gutowski. Also thanks to Lauren Plant and Kiara Hay. So a great afternoon of Michigan Robotics, and we enjoy having you be part of our experience as well. We say so long from Saginaw Valley State University. This has been the first in Michigan Robotics Championship. Have a great afternoon.